The movie begins with the introduction of Sid, who is a high school senior student. He's an unpopular guy at school, and he wants to stay that way so he can spend his days there without any trouble for this. He's come up with 3 rules, and the first one is about staying as silent as possible because silence never leads a person to problems. His second rule is to avoid standing out and seeking the spotlight in school, so he takes on low-key roles like helping out at hockey games, being a backup in school plays, and participating in the annual video game team. Finally, his third rule is to stay away from the school's infamous bully. Named Chuck is a troublemaker who beats anyone who gets on his nerves, and he records these violent encounters for his YouTube channel. There was even an incident where he almost killed someone, but due to his wealthy father, he managed to escape legal consequences. Later on, we see a guy named Jim, who is Sid's best friend. Jim dreams of becoming a social media star, and he disagrees with Sid's way of life and the rules he's established for himself while they're chatting. Sid sees a beautiful girl named Tiff, whom he's had a crush on for ages. He recalls that the last time he talked to her was when they were both 8 years old and dancing on the ice. Now he's hesitant to confess his feelings because she's dating Chuck afterward. Sid and Jim are strolling through the garden when their third friend Luna arrives. It's apparent that Jim and Luna have feelings for each other, but they deny it and often fight with each other after school. Sid arrives home to find both of his mothers waiting for him. They inform him that he's received a letter from the school and they are aware that the homecoming party is approaching. Sid says that he does not want to go, but his mother tells him it's a memorable experience he'll cherish as he grows older. However, Sid is still uninterested and mentions he doesn't even have a date for the event that weekend. Sid spends his time playing video games, and when he arrives at school he is tested from going 72 hours without sleeping. His sleep deprivation starts affecting him in various ways, from his eating to his lack of energy for sports in his fatigue. He accidentally insults Chuck, who then violently attacks him in front of their classmates. A teacher eventually intervenes, but Sid, who is still not in control of himself, disrespects the teacher in front of everyone. He
has broken the 3 rules he set for himself by speaking out in front of the entire school. Chuck then promises that he will kill Sid the next time they meet, in the next scene. Sid awakens in a bed and Jim is beside him saying that he has been unconscious for 7 hours. He also claims Chuck has been suspended from school for 2 weeks and is required to attend an anger management program. This means that Chuck will be back in school on the day of the homecoming party. Hearing this, Sid becomes terrified and believes that the end of the school year will also be the end of his life, frustrated with himself for breaking his own rules. The next day, he goes to school thinking that his life will end in 2 weeks, and that he cannot leave the world without enjoying anything later in a sex education class. The girl is giving a lecture about abstinence, so Sid gets up and argues against it. He asserts boldly that having intimate urges is natural, and we should not be scared to embrace them. He claims that everyone in this class is horny but afraid to express it. The students admire his audacity, and each of them begins to speak up and share their thoughts. He exits the classroom proud of himself, but he remains surprised where he got this courage from. Meanwhile, Jim is also proud of Sid, who has become a hero to others by expressing himself without fear. Sid then receives a message from an unknown number, from a girl who has liked him for a long time, and she finally reached his phone number. She compliments him on his bravery in class, and Sid is happy that he's finally found a girl who likes him after school. Sid heads to his job as a pizza delivery man. After finishing his shifts, he sits down with Jim and begins fishing. He informs Jim that because Chuck is returning in 2 weeks, he will certainly kill him. So he decides that he must compile a list of things he must complete before he dies, with only 14 days left. Sid goes to school, and for the first